Mrs. Schnenko, I just want you to know I've had no part of this book report, but I am watching and trying to keep them under control. It is not an easy task.
I'm Margaret Mitchell. I was born on November 8th, 1900 in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, Georgia. It was much warmer down there than it is up here in North Dakota. I was a journalist, a freelance columnist, a novelist, a homemaker, a volunteer, selling war bonds during World War II.
Okay, that's actually Mark. I'm Margaret Mitchell. And my journalistic career ended after 4 years due to an ankle injury. And before my whole journal career, I did go to college at Smith College for a year because my mother died, unfortunately.
Well, now that the secret's out, it's time to admit it. You just had to spoil my little fun, Margaret. I'm Mark. I wish I was a woman, but I'm not. But I like to pretend I'm Margaret every once in a while. I wrote with other names like Peggy. Oh, Peggy was one of my favorite names. Peggy Mitchell. Margaret Mitchell Upshaw. Those were the other names I wrote with. It was, I could be a male or female. Just my favorite thing to do.
I married Baron Red Upshaw and loved him very much, but he beat the crap out of me and then deserted me. So that didn't
Well,
last.
Margaret, let me stop you right there. I believe that no woman should ever be hit under no circumstances, even though sometimes you were a little bit talkative. I think that no one should ever have hit you, Margaret.
And with that being said, Mark, I did marry John Marsh, and we fell in love.
Oh, let me stop you again, Margaret. John was an amazing man, and I believe he was good for you, and boy, was I jealous.
I really, obviously everyone knows me by my book, Gone with the Wind, and which sold over 2 million copies in a 21-month run on the bestseller list. Not really that big
It was
of a deal.
bad. Remind me if I'm wrong, but I believe that book sold more copies for a while than his book, the Bible. It was that famous.
Okay, well you're right, a little. It was with the exception of the Bible, it was outsold any other hardcover book. But obviously not the Bible because
Let's just take a moment. Him.
as Sam said, I was a journalist.
My name's Mark.
As Mark said, I was a journalist, and my career was mainly publication in 1936 to present day. Sam?
I received a Pulitzer Prize.
Yes, he did. She did.
You did.
I
Margaret.
did.
I don't know why I said I because I'm a man, but I wish I was a woman.
When I did write Gone with the Wind, I hid my writing from even my close friends because I was very private about what I was writing about. And my inspiration for Gone with the Wind in a Civil War era was that my parents always told me stories about it, and I was very interested in creating my own story. And
Margaret, let me stop you there. You were an excellent writer, and I think that your parents deserve some recognition. What were their names again?
Eugene Muse and Maybelle. Eugene was an attorney, big history buff, and my mom was a women's suffragist supporter.
Well, I bet you your mother would be proud of you because you turned out to be quite the supporter of women and a symbol for
Even
women's
when I
rights.
only went to
everywhere.
college for 1 year.
College for 1 year. God, I wish there was a trans person out there who would lead the way for us like you led the way for women.
Thank you, Mark. I'm known for scandalizing the polite Atlanta during my debut year when I declared that I would rather work than be auctioned off in marriage because I was very independent and I didn't need anyone else and I didn't care about the rules. Isn't that right, Mark?
That's right. Any questions from the audience? That's my mother. She's a little disappointed with my life choices. But your question? Speak up so the camera can hear you.
What year were you born? And are you currently still living? I missed that part.
Dear Martha, well, mother.
What year
Margaret,
were you
tell 'em.
born, Margaret?
Margaret, tell 'em.
1900, and unfortunately I died in Atlanta on August 16th,
Of what year?
1949.
Oh, you were young. How did you die?
I was a victim of a speeding car. And years before I died, I knew that my reputation was dying because we were all trying to deal with the issues of racism, and everything I was saying was very offensive. But story.
Margaret, where did you find your inspiration for writing?
I think I got this one, Mother.
Mark, I would like to talk to Margaret first, please.
That's right.
Yes, Mother.
that's right.
She's
Mom.
just so disappointed with me.
As I said, I showed a lot of interest in what my parents were talking about, and I was just intrigued by all of their war stories, so I thought I might create a little bit of my own where the woman is a bit more risky than the man is.
I'm gonna speak after her. Mother, I know you're disappointed in me, but I'd like to talk.
Go ahead.
Well, my inspiration in life is obviously Margaret because she was the best writer and I just love her. But where's your book again, Margaret?
Oh, let me just get that.
Could you?
Margaret,
Mother, enough. This was an amazing book, y'all see. It kind of looks like the Bible too. And you see, Margaret's one of my inspiration, along with her and a man named Robert Carter. They are two of my favorite people. I just love them to death.
Margaret, who was your favorite character in Gone with the Wind?
I really like Scarlett O'Hara because she just didn't care about the opinions of a man, and she didn't believe that she needed to sit back and wait and do things politely because she didn't think that that was the right way things should be done.
That's right, Scarlett O'Hara. When I was reading that book, I liked her also. But hold on now, Margaret. I think that Robert is an amazing man.
No, I think Mrs. Sheneko does her very best to teach us, and I think you just...
Who is this Robert Carter?
Oh, good question, Mother. Robert Carter is my student teacher in AP English class. I love him to death, and this is no bashing on Mrs. Sheneko. I also like her, Mother.
Okay. Well, thank you to the teachers that work with these young, aspiring...
That's
scholars.
right, and many of you had her. Could you put the camera on her? As a preschool teacher.
Hi, guys. Excuse my robe. I've kind of had a long day. These people kind of wear me out. Okay, that's enough.
That's right.
Should we end with a little excerpt from...
That's right. I'm gonna get ready
from
to
Gone
listen.
with the Wind. All right. Okay. I'm gonna read a little excerpt from my over 1,000 page book, which may I remind you, sold quite a few books. Gone with the Wind. Here is a little excerpt on page 31, and it starts out with, "Mother was only 15 when she married you, and I'm 16, said Scarlett, her voice muffled. Your mother was different, she said. She was never flighty like you. Now come, daughter, cheer up, and I'll take you to Charleston next week to visit your aunt, Eulalie. Excuse me, I'm having a tough time reminiscing on my old book.
It's all right, Margaret. You do you, girl. Mm-hmm.
And I'll take you to Charleston next week to visit your Aunt Eulalie. And what with all the hullabaloo they're having over there about Fort Sumter, you'll be forgetting about Ashley in a week. He thinks I'm a child, thought Scarlet, grief and rage choking utterance, and he's only got to dangle a new toy and I'll forget my bumps. Now don't go jerking your chin at me, warned Gerald. If you had any sense, you'd have married Stuart or Brent Tarleton a long time ago. Think it over, daughter. Marry one of the twins, and then the plantations will run together, and Jim Tarleton and I will build you a fine house right where they can join in that big pine grove. And I would like Mark to read a little bit.
Oh, Margaret, you wouldn't. Well, do you mind if I sit up next to you?
Did you see where I pointed to?
No, I didn't, Margaret. Will you stop treating me like a child? Cried Scarlet. Where do I read to, Margaret? Oh, Jesus. Cried Scarlet. I don't want to go to Charleston or have a house or marry the twins. I only want... She caught herself, but not in time. Gerald's voice was strangely quiet, and he spoke slowly as if drawing his words from a store of thoughts seldom used. It's only Ashley you're wanting, and you'll not be having him. If he wanted to marry you, 'twould be with misgivings. That I'd say yes, for all fine friendships that's between me and John Wilkes. And seeing her start to look, he continued, I want my girl to be happy, and you wouldn't be happy with him. That's just
Now,
beautiful.
I would like to remind you, this book is Civil War era, where the women are, it's a man's world, and they're not supposed to have their own opinions. They're not supposed to eat too much or step on anyone's toes. But Scarlet, which is, I think, reflects Margaret herself, was very defiant, and she didn't feel like she needed to follow the pack of all the other women. So she's doing her own thing, and whatever, like Scarlet is, and she falls in love, this is a romance, with Ashley Wilkes, who marries Melanie. So she marries Melanie's brother, thinking that Ashley's gonna love her eventually.
It's just a
but
big...
she doesn't.
It's just a big mess now, Margaret, and that's why I've read this book. Guess how many times I've read this book?
Tell me.
Just guess.
I'd say about 10.
Well, Margaret, I won't go that far. I've read it about 3 times.
Which is quite a bit. That's over 3,000 pages. Yes, it is.
I've read this thick thing 3 times.
Okay. Okay, Mark. Okay. I believe that my impact on American literature, I'm a very powerful storyteller and very historically accurate. And I just didn't really care. Didn't care what anyone thought. I didn't care about the criticism because...
Hate is gonna hate. And with that, Margaret,
No, Mark.
Not yet.
I believe I gave women a
Not
bit
yet.
of power by showing that it's okay to do what you want to do. And I believe that she inspired other authors to write a little bit more independently and how they want to write, not how they should write. Nobody likes a father.
Margaret, I've been getting into art lately. Camera woman, could you come here for a second? My dog's barking.
With that being said,
I better go take a shower now. Cut to Margaret. I'm gonna go.
with that being said, Margaret Mitchell was a very powerful American author, and I believe that she will carry independent and a very powerful voice for women even now. Yes. Back to you, Mark.